Claire, everybody. I'm happy to have with me on the telephone a man whose Hall of Fame career spans over 6 decades. After breaking out in the 1960s with hits like Baby, I Love You and writing one of the most successful songs in pop music history, Sugar, Sugar. In 1974, he went to #1 on the Billboard charts with his classic Rock Me Gently. And he's a member of the Order of Canada, Canada's Walk of Fame, and the Canadian Music Hall of Fame. His annual Andy Kim Christmas show is coming up on December the 6th at Massey Hall. It is none other than the pride of Montreal, Mr. Andy Kim, joining us on the telephone. How are you, Andy?
I'm having a great life, if you want to know the truth.
Well, that's awesome. That's so much better than the alternative. Where are you calling from?
Well, I'm in Toronto because I'm getting ready for my 19th Andy Kim Christmas. I can't believe it. It just goes by too quick.
Doesn't it? The whole world goes by too quick, unfortunately.
Oh, totally.
We saw you. I want to talk about obviously the Christmas show and another show that you're involved in. We're going to talk about some other stuff as well. First of all, we saw you at the Much Music premiere for the 299 Queen Street West, and I got to tell you, Andy, I know we're on the telephone now, so nobody can see at the moment, but you look fantastic. I mean, you don't age, which pisses me off because I wish I had.
Well, you know what? I can only thank my parents for this. I as I said, that I'm kind of living the best life
Well, you
because I really don't bring the sorrows of yesterday with me. I always learn the lesson and move on. And I really am an in the moment kind of guy. And it doesn't always really help me because I kind of like, oh, I have to do this that day. So I've got to remind myself about a lot of stuff that's even at the beginning of my career. But thank you.
Well, whatever theory you're going with, it's working for you, my friend.
Thank you so much.
Do you know what today is the anniversary of, Andy?
Today's the 14th, right?
Yes, but do you know what happened on this day 54 years ago? I found out this morning.
No, what happened?
54 years ago today, Sugar Sugar went to #1 on the Billboard charts.
Oh my God, was it today?
It hit the charts, I believe, in July for the first time, but it went to #1 on this day in 1969, 54 years ago today.
Well, you know what's interesting is that 5 years later, I think on the same day, you can look that up for me, the Rock Me Gently went to #1 as well
On the same
5 years later. But I don't know that stat, but wow.
I'm a junkie for
How long ago?
Yeah, a long time. When that song was written, did you know that you were writing it? Was that song a song that you wrote for yourself or for someone else, not knowing that it was going to be for the Archies, for like a cartoon? Or
No, I think the infamous Donnie Kirshner. Are you familiar with that name?
Yep.
He had been let go by the Monkees or the people that were putting the Monkees on. I think that there was some kind of backlash in late 60s about artists not writing their own songs. And so he found out that the comic book Archie's was going to be on TV. And he was searching for songs. And I think it was what I think about as a cattle call. So he called everybody in the universe about a song. I think this was the second one they put out. I'm not sure. But yeah, I never know where songs come from, and I never know where they're going to go. And so he loved the song enough for us to go in and make a record. But the interesting thing is that I think it's May 24th, 1969. Baby, I Love You hit the charts for the first time. And May 24th, 1969, same day, I don't know if it's the same hour, but Sugar Sugar was released, but nobody wanted to play it till, as you said, July.
Wow, that is amazing. You wrote some songs for the Monkees that the Monkees recorded as well. When you're writing, is it a same process, knowing that you're writing a song that you're going to be recording as compared to someone else recording? Do you use the same process? Do you write the same way, same style?
You know, to be honest with you, um, I never think about writing. It just happens.
Right.
And then when things happen, I am amazed at what's going on. And the important thing for me is that um, I'm writing for myself always. I'm not writing to be specific. Someone then call me up and say, you know, you've got to write a certain kind of song. And I don't know where they come from. I know how to finish them when the idea shows up. And I think that someone said a long time ago that that all songwriters are sent the same songs by the universe, and it's only now and then that you find yourself saying, "Oh, I'll finish that one, or I'll finish this one." But I really don't know. I'm not smart enough to know where they come from, but I'm smart enough to live what they do.
That's awesome. We're waiting for the Christmas show. We're going to get to that, but we're also here to plug another show that you have coming up in a few weeks, which is a tribute to Gordon Lightfoot in Vaughan on November 29th. Yourself and the great Mr. Dan Hill will be the special guests for that night. I would assume that Gordon Lightfoot was a huge love of yours, like most of us. How did you get involved with this show?
I got a call from Bernie Fiedler, who has been with Gordon for like 40 some odd years. And I think Bernie was and is great friends with Dan Hill. So I'd never met Bernie Fiedler, so he asked me to come by. I went and spent a little time with him, and he told me about what was going on. And I said, look, I really don't belong in that space, because Gordon Lightfoot had his own world, and his music is iconic. He's such a massive star, but he never walked around as a star. I got to know him early on for a brief moment, but really got to know him later on when I started doing my Christmas shows and he would come by. But you know, I will celebrate his life just the way other people do, but I don't know if I belong in the circle of Gordon Lightfoot, to be honest with you.
Well, the thought of Gordon Lightfoot music being done by the people who are involved with this show, which I read, which I believe one of them is Gordon's son, if I'm not mistaken, um, and then Dan Hill on top of that, like you and Dan Hill on the same bill. I mean, Dan Hill's performed at your Christmas concert as well in past years. Have you ever performed with Dan, or how well do you know Dan?
I've known Dan for 1,000 years, and I love Dan Hill. I love the human being that he is. I love the quality of life. I love his understanding of life. I love the fact that he helps life get better. So I've known him a long time. And the important thing is that, you know, when I do my Christmas show, I call people that I'm a fan of. And every now and then I'll find an artist that has just started a career or something, and I'll call and see if they're available, because I like to see who's climbing that star that they believe in. But Dan Hill is a unique human being, and he's known Gordon for a long time and been around Gordon for a long time. And so he deserves to be there. So I'll hang out and I'll be there as well. But, you got to call it like it is.
You both deserve to be there. Absolutely. Just go back to the Christmas concert, 2005. You do the very first Andy Kim Christmas show at, I believe, at the Mod Club in Toronto.
Yes, that's true.
You're now coming up here on, I think you mentioned the 19th annual show. Do you remember who played that very first one? Who the guests were at the Mod Club that night?
Somewhat. I think a young Serena Ryder showed up.
Yep.
I think Estero. So I was new to the Toronto scene, and I didn't know that many artists, but I would always reach out to someone whose voice I just heard or whose song I just heard. And so Estero was walking out of a pizza parlor on Queen Street with someone that I knew. And he introduced me. And later on, or the next day, I called him up and I said, so what does she do? I mean, she's got this kind of cool aura about her. And he said, well, she's a performer. You should hear her music. So I went and listened and then called to see if she would do the Christmas show. There was a group, I know that Dabnett Doyle,
yeah,
and Kim Stockwood and Tara were part of a band, and I'm trying to remember what the name of the band was, but I had heard their song and I really, really liked it. And so I'm kind of selfish this way. I'm not there to sell tickets. I'm there to sell tickets for a charity and make sure that we can get as much tickets sold so that we can give it all. I don't pay anybody. We all do it for free. Toronto's got a great community of artists that have donated their time through the years. And I'm trying to think. I always look for someone that's just starting. So Scott, if you can help me, it would be great.
The only one you mentioned Kim Stockwood. I was getting to Kim Stockwood, but the only one that I was ready, Tara McLean, and the band was
Yes.
Shay, and I had just seen them.
Shay, that's right.
I'd seen them about a week before that. I can't even remember where. And then we wound up that night at the Mod Club to see the Christmas concert, and we saw them that night as well. So that's who I remember that night was Kim Stockwood and Tara McLean
You're not that old, are you?
Well, I'm old enough, Andy.
Okay.
I'm old enough. Over the years, you've had, well, I don't look as good as you, but I'm old enough. Over the years, you've had, just to name a few, Bare Naked Ladies, City and Color, Cowboy Junkies, Dan Hill, Nelly Furtado, Metric, Kim Mitchell, Sarah McLachlan, Julie Black, Colin James, Tom Cochran. I mean, the list goes on and on and on for people that have appeared at this show in the 19 years or 18 years. That's just a drop in the bucket. You mentioned that you make phone calls and you ask people to come out. I would imagine that at this point, there's people calling you and just lining up and saying, "Can I get in for this year's show?"
And no one calls me, to be honest with you. No one calls me. I mean, throughout the years, I'll get an odd phone call from a record company or management, but for the most part, since I do it myself, and every now and then, Scott, I tell myself, okay, so why don't you get someone to help you? This is kind of like a nightmare, only because I'm now looking at the fact that, we're doing it, we're Zooming, but we're not Zooming. And I had just kind of shaved and washed my hair so I could do this. But seriously, though, I just go by instinct. I think the reason why I said earlier on that I'm having a blessed life is that I'm not following anyone else's footsteps. I'm just drawing this picture of something that I would like to do with artists that I may not be able to get or approach. Last year, last minute, metrics showed up, and I've had broken social scene. I've had artists that are really much too young to know me, but they come as anytime as well, you know.
These guys know who you are, Andy. That's why they show up. I can guarantee you that. Who is performing this year? We're a few weeks away from the night. Who do we have lined up so far at Massey Hall, December 6th?
You know, I was going to call Live Nation today, because they've come on board since I went to Massey Hall and the Queen Elizabeth Theater to do the behind the scenes stuff, like ticket sales and all that kind of stuff, which I understand, but I don't understand. If you remember the Mod Club, it was $25 to get in.
Yep.
And
good old days.
yeah, and in my purpose in keeping the tickets where they were at $25 was, I was not interested if you could afford it. I was interested in the Toronto's community who took the bus or the streetcar or the subway. That's who I wanted to come, because you can't see the Bare Naked Ladies for more than $25. You can't see people like Alex Lifeson for more than $25. I think now our tickets, and I know they're being scalped, which kind of bugs me. But our tickets are $35 and I think $85. I need to make sure that the charity gets all the money.
Right.
So Scott, if you don't tell anyone, I forgot what the question was.
I was just asking if we know who's lined up yet for the show.
Oh, I can't tell you at the moment, but I can tell you one person that's going to be there. Is that okay?
Yeah, is it you?
It's me. Alex Lifeson said yes this morning.
Oh, that's fantastic. Well, Alex Lifeson's done it before, and any chance to see Alex Lifeson play a guitar is something that everybody on earth has to take.
He is such a dear friend, and it may sound like an odd coupling, but I'm really honored to know him as this human being that is beyond reproach. He is just special, just the way Dan Hill is.
I have absolutely no doubt that the show is going to be a success, and that there will be a lineup of people just like every other year. I just mentioning off the drop in the bucket that I mentioned. It's amazing how many people want to get involved. Part of the reason why they want to get involved is because you mentioned the charity. All the proceeds of the event goes to support the Gift of Light program at CAMH, which of course is the Center for Addiction and Mental Health, which is obviously an incredible charity that helps so many people. Tell us a bit about that cause and why this Andy Kim Christmas concert got involved with that cause.
I started with Christmas Wish, and I would just kind of look for charities like Regent Park School of Music. I helped them as well. But there was one charity that I really, really loved. It was Juliet's Place, and I think it's still alive and helping people. And it was a place where abused women can come and live and bring their children. When I think about it, I get all emotional about that whole idea that we have to do this. We have to protect people. I thought we were better human beings.
We still do, but
so a few years ago, I got a phone call to come to CAMH, which I had no idea there was a CAMH, by the way, and see this room called Gifts of Light. And basically, when patients come to CAMH, they come at all hours, and they're dressed or not dressed. They somehow just have a blanket over them, bed sheet over them. People that are in trouble need help. And so Gifts of Light is a program that allows patients to come and get a pair of jeans or a pair of sneakers or a pair of socks or underwear. And it had just started about 10 years ago, and I was asked to come and see the facility and meet the people. And besides getting emotional that we haven't really, as human beings, taken care of those that are ill, it started to expand to the realization that, you know, you can buy a sweater or a shirt or a pair of jeans, and you fall in love with them. You come home, you put them on, you kind of feel better. Mm-hmm. And the whole idea of getting mental health is to feel better about who you are. Yep. And there's a lot of gratification in getting your own pair of jeans or your own sneakers. And so through the years, it has been an incredible expansion where not only do they have sizes, but they have gender equality about all the clothing that you can imagine. And it's interesting that we're talking today, because tomorrow will be 10 years that I went there. And so there's a gathering of folks that will celebrate what Gifts of Light is all about. And I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm sad that there is something that you have to be a part of. Yep. But I think that whether it's a brother or a sister or a mom or a dad or a friend, whenever there is someone that's in need, you have to be there. You have to try and understand how they can find their way back to their better self, you know?
Yeah. CAMH is an amazing hospital, a fantastic charity. The Gift of Light program helps so many people. We know all about that, Andy. Here at the Record Player, we have our hoodies and hats and anything else that we sell. We give a portion of that to a charity called the YWCA, which is an initiative that helps women who are from battered relationships and domestic abuse and spousal abuse and to get them back on their feet, whether it be childcare, jobs, that kind of thing. So unfortunately, it is something that is out there that we have to give, that we have to deal with. But it's good that there's people like yourself that is willing to step up and deal with that. So we thank you for that. I am so glad that you took some time for us today. I've been a fan of yours for many, many years. It's been amazing to get to finally talk to you. The Andy Kim Christmas Show, 19 years, is at Massey Hall on December the 6th. Andy will be in Markham for a night with Gordon Lightfoot Classics Live on November the 29th. Tickets are still available for both shows online and at ticketmaster.ca. I appreciate you being with us, Andy. Thank you so much.
You know, I'm honored. I'll let you go with this. When you're born, you've been given just a certain amount of heartbeats. You don't know how many heartbeats you've been given. So you may as well be doing the things you love to do with the people that you want to be with. And the people that you don't want to be with, make it quick, because you're not going to get those heartbeats back. This is not a sequel. So thank you for spending this time. I appreciate your heartbeats. And Heather, thank you for being there as well. And I hope to get to see you in person one day.
Absolutely. We hope to see you on December the 6th. I thank you very much again. I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday. And we'll talk to you soon. Thanks, Andy.
God bless you. Bye.